We are going to be looking at a digital microscope with 7-inch LCD screen today, obviously made in China. 1 to 1200 times zoom. Yeah, I doubt it. It has a adjustable tilting screen. In fact, the whole mechanism can be tilted, including the microscope's part of it. 7-inch HD LCD, multifunctional gimbal, 12 megapixel image sensor, continuous magnification, supper battery, working for 3 to 4 hours. Battery is optional. Oh, great. 16 different languages. Yeah, just the usual nonsense that you would expect. Now, the reason I have bought this, some of you who have ever followed any of my videos will know that some years ago I had a Vision Engineering Mantis Elite with camera. I mean, £4,000 worth. As soon as I switched over to the GHD repairs about 8 years ago, it really wasn't needed. There was nothing on the circuit boards of any GHD that couldn't be seen with the naked eye, or because I'm lucky enough, or lucky enough to be short-sighted, I can take my glasses off and I can focus very close up on small components. There is a slight risk, obviously, when you're soldering close up to anything that you're going to get injured, so that's always been a consideration. But the Vision Engineering Mantis Elite got sold on as no longer required and just gathering dust. But with the new GHD PCBs, there are some absolutely tiny components fitted on here, and I'm talking there's some more 0402s, 0603s, and the microprocessor is pretty tiny, and if we do ever get round to replacing that, you really need clear vision of the pins to just double check for any solder bridges. So the cheapest solution really was one of these Chinese microscopes. We've got a basic user manual. Funny that a print is in such a large size. So it looks like we've got a resolution 1080 full high definition, and then it says 720p VGA, circulating camera. I don't know what that means. Off 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. When the flash memory card is full, the foremost video data will be deleted and the video will be saved. Okay, so we have obviously got a MicroSD slot here. Power supply is a USB. We can select from 1.3 megapixels up to 12 megapixels for photos. Really, the only thing I am interested in is the quality of the on-screen image and any lag in the display of what you're soldering to what you're actually viewing. We've had a number of different comments on the forum about suitability of this sort of thing, but the price, which currently is £70.99, a link will be in the description. It was worth a try, and it can always go straight back to Amazon. Okay, so we have a USB lead. We do actually have a charger. I wasn't sure whether it was going to come with a USB charger, so that is handy. Obviously nothing special. 5-volt 2 amp output. I'm surprised it can put output 2 amps, but that's what it says it can do. We have a anodized aluminium stand. Just get this in place as a backdrop. There we go. So we've got a stand there. Great big scratch on it already. You wouldn't be able to see that, I don't suppose. We've got some pretty chunky rubber feet, so that is relatively heavy. the mount and the adjustable part of the microscope. Oh, come on. It looks like we're going to have to undo that. Or will that actually just screw in there and then leave it up? Are we going the wrong way? No. Not quite lined up, so I suppose the correct thing to do is undo it and bring that down and adjust it on that black ring. Doesn't need to be super tight, so you can see the tilting part of it, so that is fine. Doubt this is going to be, actually it does feel quite smooth. There's a little bit of play in there, as you would expect with such a device. It's not a fine precision instrument, but small movements are certainly possible. Okay, so let's grab the main unit. Is about as light as you could possibly make a screen. Oh dear. So we've got a protective cover, we have standby, we've got M for memory, I guess, D, don't know, data, display, OK button, up and down button, and yeah, some sort of very wonky looking dial. Underneath we have the LEDs. Oh, that's what that is. I should imagine that is a continuously variable. Oh no, it does actually stop after a couple of turns. That is probably the LED brightness. On the side here we have the USB connection port. We have the micro SD slot, and then oh no, that is the LED here. That is going to be focus then, I would guess. That is just going to slide in there. There are two little screws here, and they have a little silicone rubber piece on the end, and that is just going to hopefully gently sit on the microscope. There we go. Just going to peel that screen off. Okay, actually I better save that, because if this is really a pile of garbage it can go back to Amazon, so I'll keep all of the bits and pieces at the moment. So yeah, probably a metre of USB cable. Let's get that plugged in, and then we'll get this plugged in the side. Or not. God, that barely goes in there. Got that right. There we have. There's not very much room to get that in there, but it is, I think, just in, and it has come on. So let me bring this camera up. So I think probably the best thing to do is get a board under there, and we'll just adjust the focus. Yeah, it's pretty grainy, I have to say. 1080 Full HD it's saying at the moment. Let's adjust the brightness of the LEDs. So I've put it to full. Oh, you know what? That is pretty good, actually. I can, oh yeah, I'm going to try and turn this around, and let me just see if I can zoom in on the screen. Let me just pop that there for a minute. Right, so I'm just going to show you what we're looking at. So that's the size of the PCB with the various chips, and then we'll move over onto the other one, which is that sort of size. I'm going to pull the socket out because that is in the way. Okay, so that's the socket out of the way. So let's get that underneath there. Actually, it's upside down. Let's see if we can read some of the writing on these devices. Huh. I mean, that really is quite good. There is absolutely no lag on that whatsoever. I just tilt it and shine. This was a trick we used to do on the Mantis Elite. It had variable levels of lighting, and you can tilt the work until, see there, you can't read the writing, but if you just angle it right, you can then see the writing on that whatever that is, and it says MXX and then H7, and you can clearly see the writing there. What else have we got? Other components. Let me find one of the very small. Yeah, that resistor 70 there is pretty small, but we have some even smaller ones on the other side. So let's have a little look there. We're going to have to adjust the focus, I suspect. There, that is the programming header pads. Now trust me, those are the tiniest component that there is. And if we go over to the IC, I mean, that's perfect. Look at that, look how clear those pins are. And I'm just tilting this, and there is absolutely no delay there whatsoever. That is excellent. Now, I was really struggling to read the writing on another board because that blob of paint you can see was covering half of it up. But it's an STM32F030C8T6. It's an ST chip. It is one of their ARM Cortex chips, but you can clearly see the pins there. You would clearly see if you had bridged anything. Another component there, UDW, and that looks like a 05 at the end. That is excellent. Let's see if we can see the writing on this. Oh, very clear there, look. PJN 2032A7. If you want to view it in slightly different light, then you would turn it that way and back again to that angle. Oh, that is excellent. Now, I'm assuming if we bring this further down and then refocus, we should be able to get an even closer view of things. I think focusing, the closer we get, will become more and more critical. Now I'm just going to take the camera by hand and just tilt this down so you can see the amount of space that we've got to work in there. I can't see the bloody screen, but I think the LED is probably darkening this picture. But that's me zoomed right into those pins like that. There's bags of room to work underneath there, and if we just back this off. I'm just going to bring this back up again and then see if it will focus. I mean, you can see those as clear as day. Is excellent, and I can put the whole side of my hand underneath. So we're talking. Where's my tape measure? I'm going to measure that and tell you how much clearance we've got from the table. So I'm looking at 3 inches. We've got 3 inches clearance at the moment, and you can see the level of detail that is giving us on that chip, which isn't the smallest I've worked on pin spacing wise, but that is what we're going to be working with at the moment on these boards. And so let's bring this right down. Let's just see how close we can get into this. I'm going to focus this as we go. Like I said, the further you zoom in, the less you're going to be able to see field of view. But look at that. You really can see. Again, you've got to get the, when you get to these sort of magnifications, just the depth of the leg, the bend in the leg, you know, the top of the leg will be out of focus where it enters the chip, and the lower soldered section will be in focus. So you've really got to get what you want in focus. Let's go down a little bit more. Oh, that's excellent. Hopefully you can see that as well as I can. Now with some way of holding that board in place, and because it's on quite large feet, I am suspecting I could probably put an elastic band. I'm just going to grab the camera here. So I could actually, let's back off that brightness so it's just burning out the screen. So because there's quite a gap underneath there, I could probably run an elastic band around there and just hold the PCB at each end with an elastic band. You know, I could still work under that with a soldering iron if I had to, but when it's back up here, 3.5 inches, and you can still view the pins. Let me just see if I can focus again. Yeah, so even with that amount of space, you can still clearly see the pins and all of the other components. And like I said, the ones here are absolutely tiny. If we have a look at them on the board, they really are tiny little things. So that is an excellent buy, and we haven't even tried out any of the functions because mostly I don't care about the other functions. I'm not really interested in taking photos, although now I've got that facility and also video, it may well be worth doing some close-ups like this. And like I say, there is absolutely no lag whatsoever at that high resolution, so I am absolutely delighted with that. That is going to make things so much easier, and it is in quite a small package, lightweight. I wonder if I can actually get my movements and my hand in. Right, so I think you can probably see the pins in my hand, but if you watch the screen and my hand movements, you'll see that there is no lag whatsoever. Even if we do something quick and jerky, I don't really think there's anything there. So the brighter the light, obviously the better it is. You can, if you look closely at that screen now, it's just introduced a little bit of noise. It's perfectly acceptable, you can still clearly see everything, but there is just that little bit of noise. So just bring the lights up, and the noise disappears. It's gone. Excellent. Well, look, I can't praise that highly enough. I think for £70, yeah, fully adjustable height. You can tilt it back. I'm not entirely sure why you would want to tilt it back, but I mean there may be a reason for that. For my use, that is perfect. I will rig up something just to hold the PCBs in place whilst we're working on them. But yeah, excellent overall. Just going to have a quick look at the menus. We have M. Oh, that brings up a resolution. Actually, we're picking up the light from the ceiling now. Let me see if we can just go through that. Go into it, and we've got 1080, 720 and VGA. We can go, oh yeah, we don't want to select that, we want to go back out, so I'm guessing that is memory again. Yeah. Cyclic record, well that is how much it will save before overwriting. High dynamic range, really. Off or on. Let's put it on. Exposure can be adjusted. Okay, we're not going to be touching that. Let's go back one. And we've got date stamp, so you can set the time and everything. Auto power off, frequency auxiliary to the line. Not entirely sure what that one means. Yeah, don't know. I have to read the manual for that. Date and time, we can format the SD card. There. Oops, wrong one. Bring it down one. Yeah, format the card, but it's not one in there. And then the standby button. Assume that might need a few seconds. Yeah, there we go. And it is off and charging. Yeah, delighted with that. That is excellent. Thoroughly recommend that to everybody if they need to see a little bit closer. Bags of room for working underneath. So yeah, excellent.